day, everyone. I am Althea from UT Abo, and today I will be discussing Scientific Management School. So, my report will cover its history, concepts, key principles, contributions, as well as its criticisms and limitations. So, scientific management was developed by Frederick Winslow Taylor in the late 19th and early 20th century. So, its main focus is on improving efficiency, productivity, and systematic management. So, at that time, industries were growing rapidly, and there was a need for a structured way to manage workers and production. Taylor believed that work should be studied scientifically rather than relying on guesswork or old habits. So its focus improving efficiency, productivity, and systematic management. So Taylor outlined four major principles of scientific management. Number one, develop a science for each element of work. Number two, scientifically select, train, and develop workers. Number three, cooperate with workers to ensure the scientific methods are followed. And number four, equal division of work and responsibility between management and workers. So now let's break this down into concepts with simple examples. So concept number one, science, not rule of thumb. So this means that work should not be based on trial and error or traditions. Instead, it should be studied carefully using methods like time and motion studies. So for example, analyzing the best and fastest way to perform a task, such as shoveling a coal or assembling a product instead of just copying how others did it before. Concept number two, scientific selection and training. So, workers should be selected and trained based on their abilities. So, for example, assigning workers to roles that fit their skills instead of random allocation. So, Taylor emphasized that workers should be chosen based on their abilities and trained for specific tasks. So, for example, if someone is skilled with numbers, they should be assigned to clerical or record-keeping work rather than being randomly assigned to manual labor. So this improves efficiency and productivity. Concept number three, cooperation between management and workers. So managers and workers should work together harmoniously. So scientific management also stresses the importance of cooperation, and managers and workers should work together and not against each other. So for instance, managers provide the proper methods and instructions while the workers follow and apply them. So this reduces conflicts and ensures smoother workflow. Lastly, concept number four, division of work and responsibility. So management plans, organizes, and monitors, and workers perform the actual tasks efficiently. So Taylor proposed dividing responsibilities clearly. Management handles the planning, as I've said, organizing and monitoring, while workers focus on performing the actual tasks efficiently. So for example, managers design the best workflow for a factory line, and workers carry it out without confusion. So while scientific management was groundbreaking, it also faced criticism. So number one, it focused too much on efficiency, neglecting human factors like motivation and well-being. So workers were often treated like machines and not as people with needs and emotions. So it also reduced creativity and flexibility since employees were expected to just follow set methods without room for innovation. Contributions of scientific management. So despite the criticisms, scientific management made important contributions. So number one, it laid the foundation for modern management. It introduced the systematic study of work and productivity. It highlighted the importance of proper training and job matching. And it became the basis for later management theories that we still use today. So in conclusion, or to conclude, scientific management emphasized efficiency, structure, and productivity. Though it was criticized for being too rigid and impersonal, it remains an important milestone in management history. So many modern management practices in both public and private sectors can trace their roots back to Taylor's work. So these references support the concepts and discussions that I have presented, and they include Taylor's original work and later analysis by scholars. So thank you for listening. That's all for my report.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Norjana El Alimudin, a reporter from the topic 2, and I choose to discuss the history and the concept of management. The behavioral school. The behavioral school focuses on understanding human behavior in organization, emphasizing psychological and social factors that influence individual and group behavior. It relies on the concept that the manager will better understand the human aspect to workers and treat employees as a part of as important asset to achieve a goal of the organization. Meaning to say, the behavioral school ay nakatuon sa pag-unawa sa mga pag-uugali ng mga tao sa isang organization. Ito rin is nakabatay sa concept na ang mga tagapamahala ay dapat mas deeper yung understanding nila sa mga employees. At syempre, kailangan yung mga managers or mga bosses natin is they treated the employees as important part of the organization. Kasi yung employees is sila yung parang nagiging medium to achieve the objective or the goal of the organization. At this kind of perspective, the manager ay binibigyan din ang kahalagaan ng pag-unawa sa mga pangangailangan at of course motivation to the employees, no, building a positive relationship towards the employees, and by giving importance sa happiness and participation of the employees, paggamit ng mga positive style in leading in order to have a positive impact to the organization. So for instance, in having a team building sa isang organization, through team building is nagkakaroon pa ng stronger or na-strengthen pa ang relationship ng both employees and the employer. The next slide is the key concept. Human relations. It is the importance of interpersonal relationships and employees' satisfactions. So, this concept, it means mahalaga na magkaroon ng better and positive relationship ang employer and ang employees. So, from this, parang magkakaroon ng positive impact sa organization yung ganong relationship, no? Parang through that mas mapadali ma-achieve yung goal ng isang organization. So kailangan din ang bawat isa ay magkaroon din ng respeto when it comes sa ideas ng bawat isa. So kapag ang idea or kung may idea ang employee na which is nakakabuti naman siya sa organization is dapat i-accept nung manager or kung sino yung namamahala sa isang organization. Motivation. Understanding what drives employees' behavior, including needs, rewards, and job satisfactions. So, in this concept, it means na bilang isang tagapamahala, kailangan may pangunawa or nauunawaan mo kung ano ang nagtutulak sa pag-uugali ng iyong mga empleyado. Kabilang na yung mga pangangailangan, gantimpala at kasiyahan nila sa trabaho. Kasi 'di ba minsan may mga empleyado na hindi maganda sa mood pagpasok nila sa trabaho. May iba naman na very happy lang. So as a manager, dapat alam mo kung ano yung mga nagpapamotivate sa employees mo to come on work every day. Leadership, impact of leadership styles on employee behavior and performance. So, yung leadership, meaning mismo yung manager na ang tinutukoy dito kung kung paano niya i-handle yung mga empleyado niya or employees niya. So, kasi sometimes nagkakaroon ng impact ang behavior ng isang leader towards sa employee. So, dapat alam mo rin i-assess na kapag i-assess yung self mo when it comes sa behavior na meron ka. Kasi sometimes, yung mga empleyado, kapag yung manager nila toxic, parang nawawala na rin sila ng gana or di kaya parang napipilitan na lang din sila sa ginagawa nila sa isang workplace. Group dynamics, how group form, interact, and influence individuals' behavior. So it means that paano ba nabubuo or nakikipag-ugnayan or nakaka-impluwensya ang mga pangkat sa individual na pag-uugali. So sa isang organization, nakakabuo tayo ng pangkatang gawain or yung tinatawag nilang group activities minsan. So paano ba ang communication ng bawat isa? Madali lang ba na makipag-ugnayan sa mga kasamahan nito? Or may iba na na-exclude kasi may mga iba't ibang pag-uugali sa bawat isa. Sa pagtutok sa mga key concept na ito, ang tagapamahala ay makakamit ang mas malalim na pangunawa sa pag-uugali ng mga empleyado at makakapagbuti sa pagganap ng mga tungkulin ng bawat empleyado nito. So let's proceed to the importance of the behavioral school. The behavioral school is important in management because it shifts a focus from rigid machine like approaches to understanding the human side of the workplace, emphasizing that motivated, satisfied employees are more productive. So it means through this behavioral school is mas napapagtuunan pa ng pansin ang pagiging makatao ng isang organization, mas nabibigyang halaga ang pagiging isang masiyahing empleyado na mayroong positibong kasiyahan sa patungo sa kanilang trabaho ay mas nagiging mahusay at produktibo sa pagganap sa kanilang mga tungkulin. Through this perspective, it led to better management of worker needs, improved job satisfaction through better leadership and motivation, and the use of teams and rewards to achieve organizational goals, ultimately leading to a more effective and efficient workplace or workforce. So, it only means, on my own understanding, na through behavioral school of management, mahalaga ito dahil ito ay nagbibigay sa mga tagapamahala na mas malalim pang pangunawa sa bawat ugali ng tao na nagbibigay daan sa kanila upang lumikha ng mas productive at masayahing kapaligiran sa trabaho sa kanilang organization. And that's the end of my report. Thank you and good day, everyone.
The next topic will be discussed by yours truly, May Ann A. Arevalo. This is the relations theory. Theory in management is more formally known as the human relations theory. In history, human relations management theory originated between 1924 and 1932 during experiments conducted at the Hawthorne plant. This is a Western electric company in Cicero, Illinois. These studies were started by scholars from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but Elton Maya and Fritz J. Rattlesberger of the Harvard Business School became involved in 1927 and eventually popularized the subject. Human Relations Theory by Elton Maya. Elton Maya is considered the founder of the human relations theory of management. He started an experiment in Hawthorne plants, thus the Hawthorne studies. Based on the Hawthorne studies, the theory stresses that social interaction, belonging, recognition, and open communication drive productivity and satisfaction. It supports participative management and teamwork to build motivation and retention. So what is the Hawthorne studies? So Elton Maya and his team experimented with light, duration of breaks, and working hours. A group of women, for example, was exposed to either more or less light It turned out that regardless of the amount and duration of lighting, this had a positive effect on the performance. The same way was true for the rest periods. Shorter or longer breaks both led to an increase in labor productivity. During these experiments, they discovered no matter what changes they made or variables they add or deduct into the situations, positive pa rin ang effect sa mga employees. They later discovered that the Hawthorne plant had already been extremely progressive towards their worker by providing them with pension and sick benefits, which is something na hindi common nung panahon na yon. So kaya pala, regardless kung ano ang kanilang working conditions, may positive pa rin na outcome kasi motivated ang kanilang mga workers. Dagdag na rin dito yung fact na they are being watched and are being subjected to an experiment. Thus, the birth of what is now called the Hawthorne effect. What is the Hawthorne effect? This is a phenomenon where employees change or improve their behavior simply because they know that they are being observed or given special attention. I think we can all agree to this. Example dito, pag sinabi ng supervisor natin, "O bukas, andito si regional director." Kinabukasan, for sure lahat busy. Lahat in their best possible behavior. Lahat may ginagawa, lahat may output. Four actors in human relations theory. Number one is individual worker, the group work, the supervisors or the manager, and the organization. Number one is the individual worker. Tayo ito as an individual working in our own organization. Tayo ay social being with emotional and psychological needs, not just economic unit. We are not machines. We are social beings. We are motivated by recognition, belonging, and good relationships. Number two, the work group. Ito yung mga kasamahan natin sa trabaho, not necessarily na ka-department natin. Ito sila yung madalas mong kasama during lunch, coffee break, the people whom you consider friends or family in your workplace. These are social groups within the workplace that set norms, influence our behavior, and affect productivity. Number three, the supervisors or the managers. Ito ay ang ating mga boss or ang ating mga leaders. Maybe some of us here are already supervisors or managers. Last meeting, it has been discussed by our professor. What are the characteristics of a manager? So, a manager plays a critical role in communication, leadership, and motivation. Managers should use a supportive, participative style rather than the strict authoritarian control. And number four, the organization. Ito naman ay kung saan tayo nagtatrabaho. May it be private or public. This is the larger system that provides policies, rules, and overall structure that plays a role in shaping employee behavior and motivation. Principles of human relations theory. Focus on people. The theory prioritizes individual needs and social interaction, viewing workers as complex individuals with social and psychological requirements. This means that workers are not just machines. They have feelings, needs, and social lives that affect how they work. Managers should care about their employees, build good relationship, and make them feel valued. When people are happy and satisfied, they do they do better at their jobs. Social and psychological needs. It recognizes that employees are motivated by non-economic factors such as sense of belonging, recognition, personal growth, and meaningful work. This means that workers are motivated not just by money, but also by friendship, belonging, respect, and recognition. If their emotional and social needs are met, they feel happier and more motivated to work well. Importance of informal groups. Spontaneously formed social units within an organization, not defined by the formal structure, are crucial because they significantly influence employee behavior, motivation, and performance. This means that friendship and social connections at work have a big effect on how people behave. Workers often listen to their peers more than to their managers. These groups can improve teamwork and motivation if managers understand and support them. Motivation through positive relationships. Improved productivity and morale are achieved through positive social bonds, cooperative attitude, and sense of appreciation. This means that people work better when they are feel respected, supported, and appreciated. Good relationship with coworkers and managers make employees more motivated, cooperative, and willing to give their best. Effective communication. Open and cooperative communication between management and employees is crucial for understanding issues and fostering trust. This principle means that managers and workers should have open and honest communication. When people can share ideas, concerns, and feedback freely, it builds trust and avoids misunderstanding. Good communication makes teamwork stronger and helps the organization run smoothly. Employee participation and empowerment. Involving employees in decision making and empowering them can increase their sense of ownership and commitment to the organizational goals. This principle means that workers should have a say in decisions that affect their job. When employees feel included and trusted, they become more motivated, confident, and responsible in their work. Lastly, impact of the work environment. The overall work environment, including social and psychological aspects, plays a significant role in shaping employee performance and satisfaction. This principle means that the workplace atmosphere, like the teamwork, respect, and support, affects how people feel at work. Positive environment makes people happier and more productive, while a negative one can lower motivation. That's why we are going away from toxic environment. Ayaw natin yung toxic environment. The fundamental finding of human relations theory is that management must acknowledge the significance of the human factor in increasing human efficiency at work must be based on human consideration rather than just physical technical ones, such as needs, values, aspirations, beliefs, and attitudes of people. The main idea of this theory is that managers should care more about the people, not just the technical side of work. Workers are more efficient when their needs, their values, and their feelings and goals are respected. In other words, happy and motivated people do better at work. Do we all agree to this? I personally agree to this. Another theory is the classical organizational theory school. What is classical organization theory? It is developed in the early 20th century in response to the rise of industrialization, mass production, and the need for efficiency in large organizations. It emphasizes efficiency, number one, specialization, formal rules, hierarchy, and productivity, seeing the organization as a closed mechanistic system and workers as means to production. So in human relations theory, it is people first, while in classical theory school, it is organization first. There are three modules of classical organization theory school. The term school here refers to a body of thought or approach developed by a group of scholars who share similar ideas, principles, and methods. So first, we have the scientific management by Frederick W. Taylor, administrative management by Henry Fayol, and bureaucratic management by Max Weber. First, let's tackle the scientific management. Frederick W. Taylor is generally known as the father of scientific management. He initiated the period of modern management. This approach applies scientific methods to analyze and optimize work, focusing on time and motion studies and job specialization to improve worker productivity. So let's review. What is the scientific method? This is a systematic process used to gather knowledge, test ideas, and solve problems based on observation, experimentation, and evidence rather than guesswork or opinion. There are four main principles of scientific management. Number one, develop a science for each element of work. This means replacing the old trial and error methods with systematic study and standardized procedure, using science instead of the rule of thumb. Number two, scientifically select, train, and develop the worker. This means hiring the right person for each job and provide proper training rather than letting the workers learn on their own. Number three, cooperate with the worker to ensure work is performed according to scientific methods. This is encouraging teamwork between managers who plan and workers who execute. Number four, divide the work and responsibility between management and workers. Managers handle the planning and supervision, while workers focus on task execution. Next module is the administrative management. Henry Fayol was a director of mines and French engineer. He developed universal principles of management and identified key management functions. Fayol focused on organization and structure of work tasks. He looked specifically at how management and workers are organized within a business to allow for the completion of tasks. He proposed the creation of work groups and functional departments where distinct activities are performed. These activities contribute to the accomplishment of greater tasks in furtherance of the company's objective. While the scientific management of Taylor studied the worker and task, administrative management studied the organization as a whole. The key six function of management. Number one, planning. This is setting goals, forecasting the future, and deciding the best action to achieve objectives. For example of these plans are the PPMP, or the Project Procurement Management Plan, which is also the basis for the Annual Procurement Plan. Number two, organizing. This is arranging resources, people, materials, or money, and assigning tasks to achieve plans. For example of this is the GAAC, or the General Appropriations Act, and our KRA, or the Key Results Area. Number three, staffing. This is recruiting, selecting, training, and developing employees. For example, in the Civil Service Commission, there is the qualification standards. Before ma-employ ang isang tao or any government office, he must meet the minimum requirements set by the Civil Service Commission. Next is directing. This is guiding, motivating, and supervising employees to achieve their goals. Number five is coordinating. This is ensuring that all departments and people work together harmoniously towards the organizational objectives. And lastly, we have monitoring. This is the monitoring of performance, comparing it with the goals, and correcting deviation. FIO's 14 Principles of Management. Number one, division of work. The division of labor within an organization allows for specialization. Individuals can become more proficient in the accomplishment of limited set of activities, thus improving their output. For example, in LGU, the mayor provides the overall leadership and direction for the LGU. The vice mayor preside over the sangguniang bayan or sangguniang panglungsod. The treasurer handles collection of taxes, fees, and revenues. The engineering office is in charge of infrastructure projects. Social welfare office focuses on social services. In short, in an LGU, division of work allows each department to focus on its specialized function. Maybe it finance, health, social services, infrastructure, etc., making local governance more effective. Number two, authority. Managers have the essential authority to give commands. However, they must as well remember that responsibility comes with authority. In arguments, take responsibility for all events carried out within the organization. For example, a project manager assigns tasks to the team and is responsible for completing the project on time. Number three, discipline. There must be a clear line of authority. Subordinates must fully obey instruction from supervisors. Managers must have the ability to instill discipline through punishment. For example, employees must report to work on time as per company policy. Pag na-late, deductible sa sahod or sa leave credits. Number four, unity of command. Employees must have simply one direct supervisor, as no man can attend to bosses at the same time. This ensures that employees know who their direct boss is or their direct supervisor is, preventing overlapping of authority and confusion. For example, an administrative assistant in the treasurer's office should receive instruction only from the municipal treasurer, not simultaneously from the budget officer. Number five, unity of direction. Teams with a similar objective must be functioning under the direction of a single manager through ex- expanding one plan. This will confirm that action is well organized. For example, health programs. All projects related to health, such as vaccination drives, sanitation campaigns, nutrition programs, should be directed by the municipal seat or the city health officer under one health development plan. Unity of command is about one boss per employee, while unity of direction is about one leader and one plan per objective. Number six, subordination of individual interests. The interest of a single employee would not be accepted to become more significant than those of the set. The organization's goals takes priority over personal interest. For example, a municipal engineer may personally prefer to award a road construction project to a relative's company. But for the general interest of the community, the project should be awarded to the contractor who passed the bidding process and can deliver the best quality at the lowest cost. Number seven, remuneration. Compensation is used to incentivize worker performance. Remuneration can include both financial and non-financial forms of compensation. For example, here is the financial form, which is the widely known performance-based bonus. Number eight, centralization. The, this principle denotes who in what way employees are close to the decision-making procedure. It is significant to aim for a proper balance. For example, a school principal makes the overall policies of the school, but allows teachers to decide on the classroom methods. Proper balance between the teacher and the principal. Number nine, line of authority or the scalar chain. There must be a hierarchy of authority that places workers below managers in the reporting structures. The degree of authority is higher at each stage of the organization hierarchy. The organizational hierarchy should be well understood throughout the organization. For example, in the army, order passed from the general to the colonels, then to the captains, and finally to the enlisted personnel. Number 10. Order. There must be a well-defined rules and standards for the work environment and work responsibilities. A safe and orderly environment leads to greater coordination. For example, files in the treasurer's office are properly labeled and stored for easy retrieval. Employees are assigned to positions that match their expertise. For example, licensed civil engineer works in the engineering office, not in HR. Number 11, equity. The organization must be run based upon principles of fairness. Employees should be treated with combination of kindliness and justice. A manager shall treat all his workers equally without favoritism or discrimination. Number 12, stability of tenure of personnel. Managers must reduce employee turnover. Planning for maintaining personnel must be the main concern for the organization. Managers should avoid unnecessary or frequent transfer layoffs or termination because this creates insecurity, and reduce employees' efficiency and loyalty. A stable workforce contributes to organizational efficiency and growth. Number 13, initiative. Managers must promote initiative by allowing employees to create plans and carry them out. For example, an LGU employee proposes digitalizing records to reduce paperwork, and the municipal administrators adopts the idea. Number 14, lastly, spreadicore is establishing a sense of belonging within the organization, creates a sense of unity and morale. For example, is when a manager organizes a team building activities to strengthen cooperation. The last module of the classical organization theory is the bureaucratic management of Max Weber, who initiated contemporary sociological studies of bureaucracy. Free the word from pejorative connotation and stressed essentiality of bureaucracy for the rational achievement of the aims of the organization. He believed that bureaucracy was the most efficient way to set up and manage an organization. Precision, speed, unambiguity, knowledge of files, continuity, discretion, unity, strict subordination, reduction of friction and material and personal costs, these are raised to the optimum point in the strictly bureaucratic administration by Max Weber. This management focused on the organizational structure and rules, with emphasis on the rules and hierarchy. There are six characteristics of bureaucracy that Weber believed organizations should follow. Number one is task specialization or the division of labor. This means that work is divided into specialized tasks so employees become expert in their roles. For example, in a hospital, doctors focus on treatment, nurses on patient care, and pharmacists on medicine. Number two, hierarchical management structure. A clear chain of command exists from top to bottom. For example, the mayor supervises department heads, who in turn supervises their staff. Number three, formal selection rules. In bureaucracy, employees are chosen based on formal qualifications, skills, and merit, not personal connection or favoritism. Selection and promotion follows an established standard such as education, eligibility, and technical competence. Example, to be hired as a public school teacher, an applicant must hold a bachelor's degree in education or related field, pass the licensure examination for teachers, met the civil service eligibility, and comply with DepEd's ranking system based on demo teaching, exam, and interview. Number four, efficient and uniform requirements. Bureaucracy applies the same rules and procedures to everyone, making processes efficient, predictable, and standardized. For example, when applying for a business permit, all applicants, whether small vendor or a big company, must submit the same requirements such as barangay clearance, fire safety certificates, and tax documents. Number five, impersonal environment. In a bureaucracy, decisions are made based on rules, laws, and policies, not on personal likes, relationships, or favoritism. This creates fairness, professionalism, and equality. Examples. Applicants for government position must pass the civil service exam. Even if a relative works in the office, you cannot be hired without the required eligibility. Number 6, achievement-based advancement. Promotion and career growth are based on employees' performance, skills, qualifications, and achievement, not favoritism, not seniority, or personal connection. For example, a teacher gets promoted to master teacher or principal because of strong performance evaluation, completion of required training, and passing the ranking process, not just because of years in service. Educational institution, military organization, and government agencies like the IRS uses Max Weber's management theory to ensure efficiency, compliance, and clear hierarchies. The classical organization theory of management laid the foundation of modern management. It emphasizes efficiency in tasks and workers, which is discussed in the scientific management, the universal management principle of the administrative management, and formal structure, hierarchy, and rules of the bureaucratic management. While it helped organization become more structured, predictable, and productive, it had limitations because it often ignored the human and social side of work, leading to treating workers like machines. This is where the human relation theories comes into picture.
So, good evening and assalamu alaikum. So, my name is Nailia Datu-dacula. So, my presentation is all about the origin, concept, characteristic, and step of instructional design of system approach. So, my topic is all about system approach. So, before that, the outline of the presentation is first the meaning of the system. Second, the meaning of system approach. Third, the origin of concept of system approach. So first, we need to understand muna the meaning of system. So first, meaning, system is a set of interrelated and interdependent parts arranged in a manner that produces a unified whole. Second meaning is the wholeness aspect of something. Example here is the digestive system, transportation system, telegraphy system. So, para mas mabilis nating maintindihan, so si system is needed to be interrelated or interdependent. So, for example na lang, our body is a system. They are all interrelated and interdependent. Because why? For example, gagana ba ang ating mata without the function of our heart? Also, the mouth will talk because of our mind or the heart. So, in short, they are interrelated. All part of our body has a function. So, they are related. It will not work and it will not function without our heart and also without our mind. So, that's what we call system. So, next, the characteristic of a system. First, it is a general term. Aims of a system is to achieve pre-specified goal or objective. Consists of a number of elements or parts. Same as our body, part of the body, they are numbers of elements and parts. All the parts of elements of a system have specified role. For example, kanina, our body have each of the part of our body had a role. The eye for sighting, the nose for smelling, the mouth for talking. So our system every element of the system had their role. They are relationship between part is dynamic, capable of self-maintenance and self-regulation. So yun po ang characteristic ng system. So next, definition of system. So according sa Oxford Dictionary, system defines as follow: organize or establish procedures, irregular interacting or interdependent group of items forming a unified whole. Third, methodically arranged set of ideas, principle, methods, and procedures. So, yun po yung meaning ni system according kay Oxford Dictionary. So, next, component of system. So, may 5 components sa system. First, the input. Second, the process. Third, the output. Fourth, the feedback. And last, the environment. So, ito po yung example ko na ginawa to understand the component of system. So, first is the input. So, example ko dito sa input is the raw materials, human resources, capital, technology, information. It's because input refer to what is put into the system. This may includes resources, for example, the human, finances, machinery, or hardware, etc. Because sa input, ito po yung nilalagay sa system. For example, you as a person, tayo ng mga worker, tayo po yung nilalagay sa system. Example, our agency, kung saan tayo nagwo-work. For example, in myself, I am connected to DSWD. So, I am one of the input in DSWD. So, next, the process. So, si process, example here is the employees' work activities, management activities, technology and operation, then methods. So, process. Si process po is the process referred to the functioning of the system. Example, whatever is going on the system. So, sa process po, dito po makikita yung work or the activities that the worker have done. Dito po makikita yung tinatrabaho, yung ginagawa ni worker sa process. So, next, the output. So, si output po is the final result or product of the system. So, sa output po, example here is the products and services, financial result, information, human results. So, sa output po, dito makikita ang resulta na nagagawa ni input. So, last ay the fourth, the feedback. Feedback is done after the output is available. The final outcome is analyzed in the light of predetermined goal, and based on this feedback, action plan for achieving the goal is revised. So, sa feedback po, dito po makikita or nakikita si feedback pag si output po is available na. Kumbaga, nagawa na. May nakikita na po tayo na output, then if feedback po ito, pabalik kay input. So, tayo na mga tao, tayo na mga worker, nagre-reflect po ang feedback natin, nagre-reflect sa tao yung kanyang ginagawa. So, as part of the system, they are all interrelated. So, kung ano ang tinatrabaho ng worker, yun po yung nagiging output, which is bumabalik yung output ni tao, bumabalik po yung output ni tao, yung nagagawa ng isang worker sa kanya. So, They are all interconnected and interdependent. So, as a worker, kung ano yung natapos mo, ano yung natrabaho mo, yun po ay babalik sa'yo. So, that is the example of, that is the meaning of the feedback. So, next, the environment. Environment refer to the physical, social, political condition. So, yun po. Yan po yung mga component ni system. So, next, they have two types of system. First, the open system. So, the meaning of open system, system that dynamically interact with their environment and are influenced by the external environment. Next definition is all organization are open system. For example, DSWD is a open system. Why? Because they are interacting with their environment. They are interacting with the people. They are interacting with the, what we call this, the client. So, DSWD is open. They need the people, and also people needed DSWD for the financial assistance or what. So, the DSWD is example of open system. So, next, second type is the closed system. Closed system is a system that are not influenced by or not interact with the environment. So example here sa closed system is the, what we call this, the country of North Korea. So alam po natin and aware po tayo is North Korea is a closed system because they are independent. They are not influenced by other country. So ewan ko lang kung sino yung nakapunta doon, or ewan ko lang kung may nakakalabas pa ba doon. So we are all aware that North Korea is a closed system because they are not interacting with other country, or they are not easily like hindi madaling pumasok doon, and isa din yan sa tinatawag na closed system. So next, the concept of a system approach. So dito na po tayo. So yun lang po yung sa what is system. So next, the system approach. So first concept of system approach first emerged during World War II. Next, optimal management of enormous man and machine power deployed in the war. Since then, it has been successfully used in a various field of management, especially industries, businesses, policy making by the government in defense forces. So, system approach. So, ano ba talaga si system approach? First, it is a systematic attempt to coordinate all aspects of a system toward specific objectives. So, si system approach talaga is my specific objective. Next, it acts as a link between software and hardware technology. It is also known as a management technology. So, si system approach din po ay kilala as a management technology. So, ito po, my step of system approach. So, there is the 5 steps of system approach. So, first is the analysis of the given situation down to setting up relevant objectives or goal. Next, devising the most appropriate way and means. Then, devising monitoring tools. And last, the planning alternative solution. So, yan po yung mga steps of system approach. Next, si system approach to education. So, ano po yung nagiging function ni system approach, example in education? The concept of system analysis and system development was borrowed from the field of management and was first applied to the field of education in 1960s. So, and its application in the field of education is relatively a recent phenomenon wherein it being used as strategic tools to achieve the best in the process of imparting education, including planning, execution, and evaluation. So, Yan po si system approach sa education. Next, definition of system approach to education. So, system approach is one of the techniques which aims at finding the most efficient and economically intelligent method for solving the problem of education scientifically. According yan kay Keshaw and Mikan in 1959. Next definition is system approach involves setting goal and objectives, analyzing resources, devising a plan of action in continuous evaluation, according to Settler of 1990. So next, needs of system approach to education. Setting up of goals of education, identifying means of imparting education, example, formal, informal, school, colleges, universities, uh, correspondence, etc. So, curriculum planning, teaching, learning, process. So, yan po yung mga needs ni system approach to education. So, next, the system approach to education, the input and output. So, katulad kanina, so input is the student, human resources, materials and media, financial resources, or the administration. So, dito, mas naintindihan po natin, input is yun yung nilalagay kay system. So, first, the student, si teacher. So, yun po yung mga input. Then, output. So, yan yung output here is the attainment of educational objective. So, yan po yung nakikita natin na nagagawa as a student, as a teacher, materials and media, financial resources. Yan po yung output sa education. So, next, the process in education. The system approach as a process in education. It involves utilization of all the resources available optimally and systematically to achieve the desired educational objective. So, yun po ang process ni education. So, last, the advantages of system approach. So, ano ba talaga ang advantage ni system approach? So, dito, makikita natin first, system approach help to identify the suitable resources, materials to achieve the specific goal. So, next, the technological advancement could be used to provide integration and machines, media, and people for attaining the defined goal. Third, it helped to assess the resources needs, the resources and facilities in relation to qualities, times, and other factors. Fourth, it permits an orderly introductions of component demonstrated to be required for system success in terms of studies learning. And last, it avoid rigidity in plan of action as continuous evaluation affords desired beneficial changes to be made. So, the advantages of the system approach is ito pong 5. So, yan po si system approach. So, I hope naintindihan po natin si system approach. So, yun lang po and maraming salamat. Good evening.
Contingency approach presented by Shalene Limada. Here is our learning objectives. 1. Define the contingency approach in management and explain its core principle that there is no one size fits all style of leadership. Number 2, differentiate between major contingency models, including Fiedler's contingency theory, Hersey Blanchard's situational leadership theory, House's path goal theory, and lastly, the Simon's decision making theory. We also have to apply contingency thinking by identifying which leadership style or decision making strategy is most effective in specific workplace scenarios. Lastly, how is the contingency approach important? Here is the abstract of the topic. The contingency approach highlights that there is no single best way to manage or lead. Effectiveness depends on adopting strategies to specific situations, tasks, and workforce needs. By drawing on models like Fiedler's situational leadership, path goal, and decision making theories, it emphasizes flexibility, situational awareness, and personalized leadership. This approach ensures managers apply the most suitable style for improved organizational performance and success. So, let's dive into what is the contingency theory or approach. Contingency theory or approach highlights that there is no universal formula for effective leadership. Instead, it varies depending on the specific situation. One size rarely fits all when it comes to leadership and organizational strategy. What does it mean? Contingency approach centers around the idea that to be effective in the role, a leader's style must be appropriate to the situation to be effective in the role. Meaning, if a leader only has one strategy up to their sleeve, they will be very effective in some cases and entirely ineffective in others. Because if it works for others, maybe it doesn't work for the others. That's what it means that one size doesn't fit all. It means that leadership style involves examining the situation first, then adjusting your response as a leader according to that context or situation. Contingency theory is that the theory that management effectiveness is contingent or dependent upon the interplay between the application of management behaviors and specific situations. In other words, the way you manage should change depending on the circumstances. This approach means that you have to be flexible when it comes to your leadership style. Next, we're going to discuss the different contingency theories or models of leadership or management. First, we have the Fiedler's contingency theory, the situational leadership theory, and the path goal theory, and of course, lastly, the decision making theory. First, the Fiedler's contingency theory. It was developed by Fred E. Fiedler in 1960, suggests that a leader's success is influenced by how well their leadership style aligns with the situation they are in. The Fiedler model is a two-step approach. The leader must evaluate their own leadership style. They must consider three factors. The Fiedler model is unique, but it is also states that leadership styles are fixed. So, the Fiedler's contingency theory is the leadership style is fixed. He also stated that in identifying your leadership style, you must first identify the coworker you enjoy working with, the very least. So, the rate the coworker based on a series of adjectives laid out in the least preferred coworker or LPC scale. So we're going to see what is this LPC scale. I have this an example and a differentiate of among four models. Next, we have the situational leadership theory. Sometimes it referred to as situational contingency theory of leadership or the Hersey-Blanchard model. Leaders should adapt their style based on the readiness and maturity of the followers. So they said that the Fiedler's model is fixed. However, the situational leadership theory says that leaders should adopt their style based on the readiness and maturity of the followers. What does it mean? What does it mean? Situational contingency theory of leadership by or the Hersey Blanchard model says that states that leadership styles can and should change. The primary focus of this model is the team member maturity. It says that high maturity employees have more experience and can make decisions on their own. So you see the difference. The Fiddler's contingency theory talks about how well their leadership style aligns with the situation they are in. It says that it is fixed. Unlike with the situational theory, leadership theory, it can be and should be changed. Next, we have the path goal theory. So, what is path goal theory? It was developed by Robert House. It focuses on how leaders motivate their employees by by clarifying the path to success, removing obstacles, and providing necessary support. What does it mean? This model involves identifying processes or paths that set team members up to meet individual objectives or goals. Leaders who practice this approach adjust their behaviors and expectations to encourage maximum productivity. They must be very flexible and willing to meet each team member's need. That's what the path goal theory. They have the directive clarifying leader, or you can be achievement oriented leader, or a supportive leader. Next, we have the decision making theory. Decision making theory, introduced by the Nobel laureate Herbert A. Simon, the concept highlights that effective decision making is essential for successful leadership and organizational performance. It emphasizes the need to tailor decision making strategies to fit various situations. Decision making is important in an organization. So when Nobel laureate Herbert introduced this one, he said it centered that the idea of decision making is crucial component of effective leadership and determines the relationship between a leader and their employees. How? Leaders who practice the decision making model demonstrate the five leadership styles. So, what are these five leadership styles? Let's see here and differentiate the four key models. Here is the example, the key focus, the leadership styles, the core idea, and the four key approaches. So we have here the Fiddler's contingency theory, which uh, which the core idea depends on the match between a leader's fixed style and the situation. That's what it means. The fiddler is a fixed style of leadership. So it must be task oriented, relationship oriented. Its key focus should be the situational factors, the relations, task structure, and the power. The relation, it means that does your team trust you? High levels of trust equal increased of favorability. The task structure means how clear is the task? High levels of clarity equal increased favorableness. And lastly, the power. How much authority do you have over your team? You have a high level of authority, and if you can administer rewards of punishments, the higher the position power, the more favorable the situation. So that is the fiddler's contingency theory. We have here an example. A task-oriented manager excels in a structured production environment but struggles in a relationship-driven customer role. So, this is the fiddler's contingency theory uh, discuss that The example that this is a task oriented and a relationship oriented between the manager and his um, his employee. A task oriented manager excels in a structured production environment, but also struggles in a relationship driven customer role. So, the Fiddler's contingency theory discusses that it is fixed and it should not and cannot be changed. So we have here the situational leadership theory by Hersey and Blankard. So the core idea for this approach, leaders should adopt their style based on the readiness and maturity of the followers. So we have here the telling, the selling, participating, and delegating. The key focus of this approach that employees' competence and commitment. What does it mean by telling, selling, participating, and delegating in a leadership style of this approach? Delegating. When using delegating style, leaders allow their team members to be responsible for a specific task, to lead smaller groups. So there's an autonomy. Participating style means that leaders encourage team members to share ideas and decisions. So there's an openness for criticism and suggestion. This is what the situational leadership of Hersey and Blankard. So what is um, selling style. Selling style requires a leader to sell team members to an idea with clear and persuasive instructions. So, this approach is helpful for moderately mature team members, specifically those with confidence but unwillingness to complete tasks. So, situational leadership style is really effective. I can see that it's really applicable for any organization. So what is delegating? What is telling? I mean, sorry, telling style, it involves explicit directions and close supervision. It works best for low maturity employees who are willing but lack the skills to act independently. So, for telling, you have the confidence, yet you are willing to complete the task. That is what the telling means. So we have here an example. A manager directs means close supervision, that is telling. A new employee then shifts to delegating as the employee gains skills and confidence. So manager directs, that is telling, and delegating a new task so that that employee can gain new skills and confidence. Next, we have the path goal theory house. So, the core idea for this approach is that leaders motivate by clarifying goals, removing obstacles, and providing support. The leadership style for this theory is directive, supportive, participative, achievement oriented. The key focus for this is motivation and goal attainment. So what does it mean for directive, supportive, participative, and achievement oriented? For achievement oriented, the leader sets ambitious goals for employees. For achievement oriented, let's go back. The leader sets ambitious goals for employees, expects a high level. Okay, let's go back. I'm so sorry for the delay. Okay, achievement oriented, it means that a leader sets ambitious goal for employees, expects a high level of performance, and has a complete confidence in them and their abilities. So this approach works well in the environments that attract high achieving employees such as hospitals, labs, law firms. So what is also here the supportive, a directive? Leader. So directive clarifying leader, a leader tells employees what's expected of them and tells them how to perform certain tasks. This approach is the most effective when an employee's role is unstructured or the task is ambiguous. So there's if there's a clarity or not, an employee needs clarification of the task, so a leader must be directive. Next, we have the supportive leader. The leader is a concern with employees' mental health and well-being as they are with productivity and results. This approach works well in stressful or mentally challenging environments. So, what are the examples of mentally challenging environments? So, that is a leader must be supportive, and that's what it means by pot goal theory of house. We also have here the uh, participative leadership style. The participative leader consults with their employees and asks for their input before making decisions. This approach works well in environments where employees are personally invested in their works and outcomes. So if it is applicable in your organization, if your if your organization is well participative, will open for discussion for your um, for open for your ideas, so that is being participative leader. So the key focus of this theory is being motivation and goal attainment. We have an example here. A sales manager provides training, clarifies targets, and offers incentives to keep the team motivated. So the goal of the path goal theory wants the employee to feel motivated of their work or task. That's why they offer incentives, they offer rewards to their employees. Lastly, we have the decision making theory. Decision making theory um, should vary depending on complexity, urgency, and team involvement. So the leadership style here is the autocratic 1 and 2, the consultative C and C1, C2, and the collaborative. So what does it mean by autocratic 1 and 2 and the consultative C1 and C2? So the autocratic 1 and 2, one is the leaders believe they have all the information needed to make good decisions. They don't need any input from their team. So this is very very close-minded. They don't like criticism, or they don't open to suggestions and discussion. That is the autocratic one. The autocratic two, leaders consult with their team as a group and then make the final decision alone. So consultation, there's a consultation there if this decision is good or not. So if this is good for the majority of the team, so that he or she will decide alone in behalf of the team. So the consultative one. Okay, the consultative C1, it is the leaders consult with their team members individually, consider everyone's view, and then make the final decision alone. So this is open to suggestion also. Discuss with the team members if this or that could be a good in the organization. However, he or she made the final decision alone, yet with a consultation with the team. The consultative two is leaders consult uh, at a broader level with the team-wide meetings and then make the final decision alone. And there's a meeting provided, and also a broader in the next level, in a broader level. So what is the collaborative G2? Collaborative G2 leaders care about reaching a consensus. They they organize meetings to discuss the situation and asked every team member for their opinion. Then everyone makes the final decision together by voting. So, what are your leadership style? As a leader of the organization, are you task oriented? Are you telling, selling, participating, or delegating? Are you directive? Are you supportive, participative, and achievement oriented to your team members? Or are you autocratic, consultative, or collaborative? Team or collaborative leadership style. So we're going to find that out on your own. So how is these four key models important? These four models illustrate the core principle of the contingency approach, that effective leadership is contingent upon the situation. So it deals with the situation. It means that um, it varies in the situation, that the your leadership style should adapt to the context, whether you should change or not change your leadership style. Managers need to consider contextual factors, the readiness of their followers, motivational needs, decision making requirements, to adjust their leadership style accordingly. By doing this, they can more effectively guide their organizations through various challenges. And we're going to the second to the last slide. Why contingency approach is important. We have here the four key principles of contingency approach. So we have here the leadership and management should be situational. Yes, because if this is applicable for this organization, they might be not be applicable for this organization or this team. Organizational and environment factors significantly influence decision making. Yes, that's true. Flexibility is important, requiring leaders to adjust strategies as circumstances change. Yes, situations change, so your leadership style should also change. Individualization is essential, addressing the diverse needs and motivations of employees. It's also important to make rewards and incentives to our employees that has high maturity or even those are low maturity, so that it can boost their confidence. So why is it important? Why the contingency approach important? Just look at the illustration. You have the plan A. Yes, you have already the plan B. But in real life situation, it could be like that. It could be madaming, it could be any, like the situation changes based on the circumstances on that specific day, on that specific situation. So why is it important? Contingency theory provides a lot of value to managers and team leaders because it encourages them to be realistic. Yes, to be realistic. We have the plan A here, the illustration, the plan B, but in real life, just just look at the illustration. It prompts them to evaluate situations and see team members as unique individuals rather than trying to implement one size fits all approach. That's how important contingency approach is. So, as I presented the four key models, fiddlers, the the fiddlers approach, the situational leadership model, the path goal model, and the decision making model. It gives you the idea that leadership style is broad. No, it doesn't, one size doesn't fit all. So, contingency thinking also allows for more creativity and flexibility in the workplace, that leaders and managers can adjust their approach based on each situation and the capabilities of the or experience level of their team. So that's why how that's what the importance, importance of contingency approach in the organization and also as you as a leader. So to conclude our topic, the best management style depends on the organization's type, size, environment, and the challenges it faces. That effective leadership means considering multiple options, that you have to adapt to change, choose the best approach that best suited for each specific case. Now that you understand the contingency theory of leadership and the power of contingency thinking, I hope that you know different and knowing those different leadership styles, it will be easier to you to evaluate various situations and choose the best response for your team, for yourself, and for your company. That concludes my report about the topic contingency approach. I hope you have learned something today. I am Shalene Siglimada, and that ends my presentation. Thank you and magandang buhay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. So I am by Sandra Ala, one of the reporter from the topic 2, and I choose to discuss the Fayol's classical management. Who was Henry Fayol? Henry Fayol was a French mining engineer. He worked in a French mining company from the late 19th century to the mid of 20th century. He began as an apprentice engineer. He rose to general manager and then to director. When Henry Fayol first became a manager at the mining company, he focused on his skills. He wanted to organize the human resources, not just use his technical skills. Henry Fayol was considered as one of the founder of the modern management theory and is best known for his work administrative management. Fayol's contribution to management theory include the 14 principles of management and the 5 functions of the management, which is madidiscuss natin siya sa next slides. So, his work laid the foundation for modern management practices and has had a lasting impact on the field of management. Fayol's theories are still widely studied and applied in business industry, and the government or the organization today. Fayol's classical management is a foundational approach to organization management and increasing productivity by emphasizing organizational structure and human behavior. This Fayol's classical management was developed in early 20th century. This theory emphasizes the importance of the structured approach to management, focusing on planning, organization, leadership, and control to achieve organizational goals. This classical management theory has had a lasting impact on modern management practices, providing insight into effective organizational structure, management functions, and leadership. Fayol's classical management theory has a 5 function of management. So Fayol argued that the managing an organization is a distinct, teachable skill involving 5 key functions, which are the planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. And for planning, as Henry defined, a manager must assess the future and make provision for it by creating a flexible action plan that considers the company's resources, market trends, and future goals. So, planning is like a process, no process of thinking ahead and organizing activities required to achieve a desired goal in the future. So it involves forecasting, setting objectives, deciding in advance the appropriate action to reach those objective or yung goals na gusto nyong achieve within the organization. Second is organizing. This involves providing all necessary resources like raw materials, capital, and personnel, and establishing a clear structure of authority and responsibility. So, the organizing and management is a process of allocating resources, assigning tasks, and structures activity to achieve organizational goal. So, an effective organizing, no, it can help to clarify roles and responsibilities, improve communication and coordinations of the employees, increase efficiency and of course productivity, and enhance accountability and control. So by organizing effectively, management or the manager can create a structure that supports the achievement of the organizational goals and objectives. Next is commanding. Managers must direct and motivate employees to achieve organizational goals. This requires knowing the personnel well, delegating effectively, and setting a good example. So, commanding in the context of Hindusville's management theory, so it refers to the function of the management that involves like guiding and motivating employees to achieve organizational goals, no? So this includes yung pag-direct sa kanila, giving instruction and guidance to employee, motivating or encouraging the employees to work toward the organizational goals, and of course, leading, influencing, and inspiring employees to achieve their best. So, an effective commanding involves the clear communication, setting expectations, provide feedback, building trust and rapport, empowering the employee. So, by commanding effectively, managers can inspire and motivate employees to work towards achieving the organizational goal. So, next is coordinating. The manager's role is to ensure all activities and efforts across different departments are harmonized and aligned to facilitate organizational success. So, in the context of Hindusville's management, no, it is a process of integrating and harmonizing activities, tasks, and resources to achieve the organizational goals. So, this involves the linking activities, no? The manager ensures the different departments or teams work together seamlessly. So, next is managing dependencies, no? Coordinating tasks that rely on each other, allocating resources, ensuring resources are used efficiently across the different activities, and synchronizing efforts, no? Timing activities to achieve maximum efficiency. So, the effect of the effect of coordinating helps to improve efficiency, no, reduce waste and duplication of efforts, enhance collaboration, foster teamwork and communication, and of course achieve goal, ensure that organization activities are met. So by the coordinating effectively, manager can ensure that different parts of the organization work together towards a common goal. And lastly is controlling. So this function involves monitoring and evaluating the work of employees to ensure that all activities are conforming to the established plans, rules, and procedures. So this controlling is like monitoring, regulating activities to ensure they are aligned with organizational goal or standards. So this involves yung setting of standards, establishing benchmark for performance, measuring performance, tracking of progress, of course, ng outcomes ng mga employees, identifying deviations, recognizing variance and standards, and taking corrective action, addressing issues, and making adjustments. So, as a manager, kung may nakikita kang mga mali, you have to give feedback, no, para ma-arrange or maayos nila yung mga work ng isang employee. And effective controlling helps to ensure accountability, no, we or the manager monitor the performance and the progress kung ano na ba yung nakatapos ng mga employees and improve quality, maintain the standards, and reduce errors. Yeah, by means of controlling or monitoring, no? Mostly kapag monitor natin yung mga employees natin is the mistakes are parang naiiwasan yun siya. So, parang isang require sa isang manager or yung nagmamanage sa isang organization is dapat tutukan nila yung mga tao nila, no, to achieve kung ano yung gusto nilang i-achieve sa isang organization. And another one is optimized resources, no, identify areas of for improvements. Yun nga sa gaya ng sabi ko is dapat kung may makikita tayong mali sa ginagawa nila ng mga employees natin is we have to address it first, no, that they have to make improvement for this or for that, no. So and is another one is to achieve goal, of course. That is the main reason why may mga tao tayong pinapatrabaho sa isang organization is for the objective of an organization or to achieve the goal of the organization. Stay on the track and make adjustment as needed. So by controlling effectively, manager can ensure that the organization goal are met and the activities are aligned with the plans and the standards of the organization. The 14 principles of management. FAIL's 14 principles are fundamental guidelines for managers to run an organization effectively and efficiently. First is the division of work, authority, and responsibilities. Third is discipline. Fourth is the unity and command. Five is unity of direction. Six is subordination of individual interest to general interest. Seven is remuneration. Eight, centralization. Nine, skill chain. 10, order. 10, equity. 12, stability of tenure of personnel. 13, initiative. And last is spread the core. So these are the 14 principles. So the first principle of management is the division of work. So division of work, specialization in a particular area of work increases the efficiency and productivity of the workforce. So the first Henry Fayol's principle of management is based on the theory that if an employee is given a specific task to do, they will become more efficient and skilled in it. So this opposed to the multitasking culture where an employee is given so many tasks to do at once. In order to implement this principle effectively, look at the current skill set of each employee and assign them a task that they become more proficient at. So this will help them to become more productive, skilled, and efficient in a long run. Next is authority and responsibility. Managers have the right to give orders but must also accept accountability for the results. So, this Henry Fayol's principle of management states that the manager need to have the necessary authority to ensure that his instructions are carried out by the employees. If manager didn't have any authority, then they would not lack of ability to get any work done. However, this authority should come along with responsibility, of course. If there is more authority than responsibility, the employees will get frustrated. If there is more responsibility than authority, the manager will feel frustrated too. Next is discipline. A well-run organization requires employees to respect and adhere to its rules and regulations. So, these principles state that discipline is required for any organization to run effectively. So, in order to have disciplined employees, managers need to build a culture of mutual respect. So, There should be a set of organizational rules, philosophies, and structures in place that should be met by everyone. Bending rules or slacking should not be allowed in any organization. So, in order to achieve this, there is a need for good supervision and impartial judgment for all. Unity of command. To avoid confusion and conflicts of interest, an employee should receive orders from only one direct superior. So, these principles state that should be a clear chain of command in an organization. The employee should be clear on whose instructions to follow. An employee should receive orders from only one manager. If an employee works under two or more managers, then authority, discipline, and stability threatened. Moreover, this will be cause a breakdown in management structure and cause employees to burn out. So, it is important in organization that there is only the only one who directs the instruction. Unity and direction. All employees working toward the same objective should be directed by a single manager with a single plan. So, this Henry's Fayol's principle of management states that the work to be done should be organized in such a way that employees work in harmony towards the same objective, using one plan under the direction of one manager. The different activities can be broken down for different sub-manager, but they should all work toward a common goal under the direction of one main person in charge of the whole thing. Subordination of individual interest to the general interest. This goal of organization must take priority over the interests of any one individual or group. So, these principles state that the overall interest of a team should take um, precedence over the personal ones. The interest of the organization should not be sabotaged by the interest of an individual. So if anyone goes wrong, the organization will collapse. So that is why the personal interest of a person should be set aside. No, if you're in a workplace, just focus on the goal of your organization. Remuneration. This is compensation for work should be fair and satisfactory to both employees and employers. This includes both a financial and non-financial reward. So, this Henry's Fayol's principle of management state that employees should be paid fair wages for the work that they carry out. Any organization that underpays its workers will struggle to motivate and keep quality workers. This remuneration should include both financial, like what I have said, and non financial incentives. Also, there should be a structure in place to reward good performance and motivate employees. Next is centralization. This principle concerns the degree to which decision making power is concentrated at the top. So, this centralization refers to the concentration of power in the hands of the authority and the following top bottom approach to management. In decentralization, this authority is distributed to all levels of management. In in modern contexts, no organization can be completely centralized or decentralized. Complete centralization means that people at the bottom have no authority over their responsibilities. Um, it seems like complete decentralization means that there will be no superior authority to control the organization. To use this effectively today, um, there should be a balance of centralization and decentralization. The degree to which is a balance is achieved will differ from the organization to organization. Scalar chain. There should be clear line of authority and communication running from the top to the bottom of the organization's hierarchy. So, a scalar chain refers to a clear chain of communication between employees and their superiors. Employees should know where they stand in hierarchy of the organization and who to go to the chain of command. So that is the scalar chain. So let's proceed to the order. Order is ensuring a place for everything, and everything in its place applies to both material order, or the people, or the social order. So these principles state that um, there should be an orderly placement of resourcement or manpower, money, materials, and etc. in the right place and the right time. This ensures the proper use of resources in a structured fashion. Misplacement of any of these resources will lead to misuse and disorder of the organization. Next is equity. Managers should be fair and kind to their subordinates. So this builds employees' loyalty and devotion. So this equity is the combination, like what I have said, is combination of kindness and justice. This principle state that the manager should be use kindliness and justice towards everyone they manage. So these two characters or this equity uh, will create loyalty and devotion among the employees towards the organization they work for. Next is stability of tenure of personnel. Minimizing employees turnover is crucial for efficiency and organizational stability. Management should provide a secure and stable work environment. So these principles state that an organization should work to minimize staff turnover and minimize efficiency. A new employee cannot be expected to get used to the culture of an organization right away, no? So it takes times for the new employees. They need to be given enough time to settle into their jobs to become efficient. Both old and new employees should also be ensured job security because instability can lead to inefficiency. This or there should also be a clear and effective method to handle vacancies when they arise because it takes time and expense to train new ones. Initiative. Managers should encourage employees to use their own creativity and initiative to develop and carry out plans. So, um, this principle state that all employees should be encouraged to show no initiative when employees have say as to how best they can do their job. They feel motivated and respected. The organizations should listen to their concern of their employees and encourage them no to develop and carry out plans for improvement. So as a manager, you have to be um, considerate, no? You have to listen to the employees because sometimes yung mga ideas nila is it can help the organization to develop or to uh, work for the betterment of the organization. Last principle of organization is what they call is predicor. So this is management, no, or the manager should promote team spirit, unity, and harmony among the employees to build a positive and collaborative culture. So this predicor mean team spirit. So this failed principle of management state that the management should strive to create unity, moral, and cooperation among the employees. Team spirit is a great source of strength in organization. Happy and motivated employees are more likely to be productive and efficient.